Welcome to Lesson 5B, Index Numbers. And the part I want to start with on this is that in your preview assignment, you were asked to read a brief report and then to take that report to class. Make sure you have downloaded the report or printed the report and that you have it ready for our in-class lesson, but specifically for the practice assignment. And one comment I'd like to make is that the conclusion in this report was that the purchasing power of the minimum wage has not kept pace with inflation since 1968. Now is a good time to look at question number 1. It says if you have access to technology, open the spreadsheet that you use in the preview and look at the salaries and review the data, and then talk about what does it mean when something's more or less than 100%. Write down your thoughts and then come back. A possible answer is that a percentage less than 100% means that if it costs less, that it does cost less than average to live in that particular city. A percentage more than 100,000%, more than 100% means that it costs more. That would be way more than average to live in that city. Looking at the objectives for this lesson, starting with we will understand the meaning of, let me get the pen going here. It does the great, well, it doesn't like me right now. It does the great streak here, the meaning of index numbers. We're also going to understand the application of index numbers in our own lives. We're going to be able to perform calculations that involve index numbers, and ultimately we're going to make and justify decisions and evaluate claims using these index numbers. Before we get started with our data, we want to look at a couple of calculations to make sure that they make sense in what we're about to do. We have a given, let's let A over B equal 59 hundredths. Then which of the following calculations is going to be equal to this? Quick analysis, we see we have 143, we have times, and then we have the reciprocal of what we started with. So when we look at 143 times 59 hundredths, that would be like saying, well, we're going to have 143 times A over B. But they're asking for an equivalent of 143 times B over A. So A is not equivalent. B, oh, and by the way, if you haven't already hit pause and worked on these by yourself, go ahead and hit pause and then get you some answers and then come back and we'll work through them together. But looking at B, 143 divided by 59 hundredths, well, let's go look at this. If this is 143 times B over A, that's not helping very much. So let me change direction here and go back to what we were given. If we're given A over B, I'm going to take 143 and divide it by, well, it says here we're dividing by 59 hundredths. So instead of 59 hundredths, I'm going to actually divide by what it is equal to, A over B. And that means it's 143 times the reciprocal, and voila, we have 143 times the B over A. That's what we're looking for. We have a winner. So 143 divided by 59 hundredths is what we're looking for. And if we look at part C real fast, it says the same thing, 143 divided by 59 hundredths. We have another equivalency. So let me look at D, 143 times 59 hundredths. Well, let me write it like this. We'll multiply numerators, we'll multiply denominators, and voila again. We have the identical equivalency of 143 over 59 hundredths are divided by, we have another winner. But when we go to this last one, if I write the 143, 1 over 143 times 59 hundredths, when I multiply numerators and multiply denominators, this is not what we're looking for. It's the exact reciprocal. We needed 143 divided by 59 hundredths, and this is 59 hundredths divided by 143. A and E are not what we are looking for. We want B, C, and D. So definitely pause here, get these to make sense, and then move on to question 3. Question 3 asks us to refer to our spreadsheet. We're going to go find that in my math lab in just a second. and it's the salaries and the cost of living of 10 cities. We're going to use the national average to convert each of the city's salary to an equivalent salary based on this national average cost of living. And then we have something with which we can compare all 10 salaries that will make more sense than just looking at their individual salaries. But in order to perform this conversion, we've got to change units. For example, we can't be talking about Phoenix dollars. We now need to be talking about national average dollars. So the percentages that we performed in the preview assignment were obtained by dividing Phoenix dollars by national dollars. But in this part, we're going to convert units. And to do that, we're going to say where we want to end up is a national equivalent salary. To get there, this is just like what we did in 5A. We have to know what we're starting with. We're starting with this Phoenix salary. To convert Phoenix salary, we're going to have to multiply it by something that has Phoenix in the denominator so that our Phoenix parts go away. They do what they need them to, we needed them to do, and the national cost of living is left. So we're talking about a national equivalent is what's left. This is what we're going to do. We're going to perform this calculation, but first we're asked to do it only on number 3, only on Phoenix. So let's go look at our spreadsheets, which are the spreadsheet is available in my math lab. So I'm now looking in my math lab. I want to point out that our student materials to prints where the course information is. I'm going to go down here to spreadsheets. We're still in lesson 5. When I click on this, it opens up a zip file at the bottom. I'm going to double click on the zip file. It must already have one open. And then I'm going to click on what we're doing. And right now we're in lesson 5B, the in-class portion. And I need to shrink this, shrink the window to be able to show you some things at the bottom. It can be a bit confusing to realize that there are 3 files in this spreadsheet. We have data, we have analysis, and we have CPI. For this particular lesson, we need the analysis piece. From the analysis piece, we're going to grab the salary for Phoenix, which is $98,000. We're going to grab the cost of living for Phoenix, which is $40,738. And the national average, you notice it's going to be the same for every one of these we do, but right now, they just want us to look at Phoenix. So write these numbers down, $98,000 for the Phoenix salary. Cost of living in Phoenix is $40,738, and then the national average is $44,600. To use this formula, we're taking the numbers that we saw in the spreadsheet, first being a Phoenix salary, which was $98,000. I'm allowed to put that over 1. Any number can be written over 1. Now I need to do the conversion. We're going to take the national cost of living, which in the spreadsheet was $44,600, and the Phoenix cost of living was $40,738. Remember, these are the Phoenix pieces. The Phoenix pieces, this is the national piece. The Phoenix units will become 1, and we're going to end up with a national amount. To get this in your calculator, you can do various and sundry ways. My favorite is to multiply the numerators, hit equals, because I believe calculators may need a little help every now and then. And then we're going to hit divide by the 40,000 and equals again. Grab a calculator, do this calculation with me, hit clear several times, punch in 98,000. Why do I keep going with so many zeros? And I did it again, 98,000 times 44,600 equals. I'm going to divide it by $40,738. And the number I see on my screen is, I'm going to write it up here because I've run out of drawing space. I get $107,000, $107,290.49. This is putting the Phoenix salary in terms of a national equivalent. That completes question 3. Go ahead and look at questions 4 and 5, hit pause, and I'll see you there. Now that you've had a chance to look at questions 4 and 5, I'm going to stay right here where I was. And I want to point out that question 4 says, describe in one or more complete sentences how units are involved in question 3. And that is the piece where I'm mentioning you've got Phoenix money and Phoenix cost of living, and they're going to be written as like units, and they will become one. You can say the word cancel, maybe not the best words, but do what makes sense to you. We can remove the like units. Question 5, describe in one or more complete sentences how the formula described is similar to converting units. And it could be a way to look at this as we use dimensional analysis. And we have to position these units so that the Phoenix dollars do cancel out and we're left with a national value. Now we're on question 6. It's saying in the last lesson we used the cost of living ratios to compare 3 different job offers. Now we're going to use the cost of living index to compare several job offers. So think of it as a unit conversion, and it can convert dollars in one city to anywhere in the United States as long as you know the national average cost of living and you have an idea of a way to use dimensional analysis. Use the concepts in your spreadsheet to convert each salary equivalent to dollars in any town USA and then report the results in the calculations in column F of the spreadsheet. They're asking us to use the spreadsheet and report out to any town USA. Well, you need to know how to manipulate these numbers in your fingers, with your calculator, and on your paper. But since we have an Excel spreadsheet, we're going to also manipulate these inside the Excel cells. I'm going to start with the one that we already know an answer for, which is the Phoenix value at $107,290. And what we did is and you have to start with equals. We took the salary in Phoenix, which the salary in Phoenix is located in cell B2. We took that and then we multiplied. So I'm going to do Shift 8 and then give it a parenthesis to tell it what I'm doing. Then I then took the cost of living for the nation, the national average, which is sitting in D2, and I divided that by Phoenix. Phoenix's cost of living, which is sitting in C2, and I close off, oopsie, got to do a shift there. I close this off, and when I hit return, if we've done it right, because we know that 107 was correct, I should see 107,000 sitting in F2. When I hit return, there's my $107,290.49. I can calculate all of these by hand, or one thing I can do is go back and sit in that cell, grab it in its corner, and pull these down, and then the Excel spreadsheet understands, do that similar calculation for all of these other pieces of data. And then voila, we have all of the numbers we're looking for any town USA, the equivalencies for our national average, and put these all in the same playing field. Now go look at questions 7 and 8 and then answer based on the information we have here what you would want to put for question 7. Then come back to here. So question 7 says, decide which job that you would select and write a one-sentence justification. Well, I'm going for the money. And looking at the money, Dallas, when we put this all in, work it all out with the national average, the cost of living for each of the cities and the certain salaries, Dallas is coming out on top with $126,000. So the Dallas salary says that we could purchase more goods and services in Dallas than any of the other salaries in any of the other cities. So then question 8 mentions the cost of living index helps us to measure the value of a dollar, of how the value of a dollar varies across the country. The value of the dollar has to do with where in the country we are living. Besides location, what else might cause the value of a dollar to vary? Some possible things you might have written down is that the value of the dollar rises with time. It can rise due to inflation or recession, or whatever you'd like to write down in question 8. But I'd like to read the rest of this lesson and some of these things you might want to put in your student notes. You may have encountered index numbers before, such as body mass index, BMI, used to measure obesity, and the consumer price index, CPI, used to measure inflation. Common examples emphasized in this lesson are the cost of living index, which allows for comparisons of the value of money in different locations, body mass index, which measures obesity, and the consumer price index, which allows for comparison of the value of money over time, taking into account inflation. This includes our lesson 5B. Look at your calendar to see if you have more lessons that are due this week. If so, keep listening to videos, and if not, I'll see you when you start getting ready for next week.